Super Typhoon Rai, the monster storm hitting with the strength of
into tears because of the
Typhoon
experience that
Rai has made landfall in the Philippines.
More than 506,000 houses in parts of the Philippines.
Baha ng Luha. On December 16, 2021, at exactly 1:30 p.m., Typhoon Odette made its first initial landfall in Surigao del Norte. With thousands of damage to houses and buildings, a larger problem looms over those who are victims of the disaster. With only 20 reported deaths in Surigao alone, the fatalities and illnesses in the whole Surigao are still unknown, yet numerous. Only one question can appear in our minds. What caused these cases of fatalities and illnesses? The aftermath of Typhoon Odette on livelihood and environment has been widely covered in the media. Yet there was something more concealed to the citizens that they were unaware could be a result of their own actions. According to an article by One News, Health Undersecretary Maria Rosario Verger said that there were 80 reported cases of gastroenteritis at a hospital in Dinagat Islands and 54 reported cases of diarrhea in Surigao Islands. We can only point to one cause of this: water contamination. Water contamination can be caused by naturally occurring chemicals, land use practices, sewage overflow, and wastewater releases. However, in this case, improper disposal of human waste may be the reason for this threat against disaster victims. Sometimes it can be inevitable to make contact with contaminated waters after a disaster, and many victims are forced to wade through the unsafe waters in order to find shelter, potable water, food, and resources as a last resort. Their lives are put at stake, and they are at a high risk of contracting diseases such as diarrhea, cholera, hepatitis A, and many more. From this looming threat that poses on disaster victims, obstacles are made, limiting their chances of survival. With this information put into mind, how are disaster victims able to cope with this risk on their recovery?
Ako po si Mike Escalante. Ako po ay taga Surigao City. 34 years old, biktima ng Typhoon Odette.
Right after the typhoon passed, what was the first thought that came into mind?
Pagkatapos ng bagyo, iniisip talaga namin kung saan kami maninirahan. Kasi yun nga, mahirap talaga ang sitwasyon namin. Noong mga panahon na iyon, dahil na rin talaga sa bagyo, yung bahay namin binabaha. Yung kalsada masyadong maputik. Hindi talaga pwede tirahan. Kaya yun, iniisip namin kung saan kami maninirahan.
Okay, number 2. After the disaster, do you know anyone or have you heard any cases of water contamination in your community? And can you explain the severity of the situation?
Pagkatapos ng bagyo, may nabalitaan ako na parang marumi na raw yung tubig ng isang komunidad malapit sa amin. Dahil nga doon, hindi sila makagagamit ng tubig panligo o pang-inom at kung ano pa man. Nakakaawa lang isipin dahil limitado. Limitado na ang mga mapagkukunan nila ng tubig. May iba pa nga ata na nagkasakit dahil nakagamit ng tubig na marumi.
Okay, How do you believe that improper sanitary disposal and wastewater management is one of the main causes of water contamination after disasters?
Siguro, dahil nga 'di ba sa sobrang lakas ng ulan, nagkakaroon ng baha. Siguro dahil sa baha, nadadala nito ang kahit ano-anong mga basura o dumi. Kaya't siguro isa na rin 'yan sa mga dahilan kung bakit nagiging kontaminado yung tubig doon sa amin.
Okay. Number 4. Nearly 5 months after Typhoon Odette, what can you say about the government? Have they made any significant or well-planned choices to help the victims, or at least to prevent such an event that will cause the same amount of damage to citizens in the future?
Hmm, may naitulong naman ng gobyerno, katulad ng pagbibigay ng mga, ayuda para mataguyod lang yung pangangailangan naming mga nasalantahan.
Months after the horrible calamity, victims are still haunted by its effects on water contamination to this day. In one case, Josie May, a 5-year-old disaster victim of Typhoon Odette, also suffered from contaminated waters, causing her to lie sick in the hospital bed with diarrhea. Sources say that the reason behind this could be due to contaminated drinking water, in which, in troubled times like these, citizens may find their drinking water sources from anywhere, whether it be deemed safe or not. The aftermath of Typhoon Odette massively shifted the network of water in Surigao City. This led to an increase of diarrheal disease cases and bacterial infections in Surigao, on top of the 39.36% of Filipinos who do not have access to well-managed sanitation facilities as of 2020. Resources such as septic tanks, sanitation facilities, etc. are necessary for the prevention of the spread of diseases through contaminated waters. Can we be sure that these resources for citizens to properly dispose of their waste are being updated regularly? We approached Mr. Christopher E. Rai, the municipal accountant in the municipality of Lanuza in Surigao, who will be providing us information about the expenses that are being put into these well-needed resources and facilities, as well as sharing his own opinions about the issue.
Okay. Oh, actually, madalas ang Surigao kasi parang prone area siya sa disaster. It's because parang may fault line. I think may fault line yata dito. And I don't know, parang near kasi ito sa Pacific Ocean. That is why prone talaga ang madalas. You ask me how often, madalas ang ano dito, ang bagyo or disaster. Madalas. It may pwede usually lindol, and then may severe rains, may heavy rains, ganyan, and then that will result to flooding, and then mga landslide, yes, landslide, ganyan. And bagyo, yung talagang storm, sobra kasi nasa Pacific Ocean kasi yung Surigao area. Yan siguro probably yung cost na madalas kami dito maka-experience ng bagyo or mga disaster. Actually, lahat may enough funds. May enough funds talaga yan sa government, sa municipality. So, talagang pinaghahanda yan eh. Part yan siya sa parang annual budget na certain percentage will be allotted for disaster or disaster preparation, ganyan. So part of it yung mga pagbili ng relief goods and yun, ganyan, mga trainings, so and other stuff na para ma-deliver yung basic services na mga tao or constituents. in our place, in our municipality, wala namang ganyan ng mga public SDG mention kasi maliit lang to ng munisipyo. Yes, so hindi yun sa talagang cities na may mga ganyan dito pang public facilities or sanitary facilities ba yan yung mga ano. Higher. Okay, higher yung sanitary. Hindi ko na gets yung hindi ko na hear yung ano sanitary or ano. Higher should be. It should be higher.
With the large percentage of Filipinos with little to no access to properly managed and updated sanitary facilities, problems arise, leaving a direct impact on those already affected by disaster, with citizens continuing to mindlessly contribute to improper sanitary practices and lack of management, cleaning, and updating of necessary equipment used for sanitary facilities. It is up to us citizens to improve our habits in terms of sanitation, to provide ease for disaster victims. Now that we have acquired a greater knowledge and understanding of the different sides of this conflict, what can citizens like us do to improve the situation for a better world and for the survival of those affected by disaster? We asked Mr. Escalante a final question.
Siguro sa pagpigil ng pagtatapon ng basura kahit saan-saan. Maaari siguro itong maiwasan kasi sa palagay ko yung mga dumi sa kalye, nakakuha yan ng baha Dala na rin niya siguro ng tubig na magiging kontaminado.
With this, we can be guided with a conscious mindset to what our next actions will be as we continue our daily lives. As we attempt to build a cleaner Philippines, we look to you, the people, to continue promoting awareness for the people of Surigao, to assess the choices of your government leaders who can improve the situation, to strive for better today. Without change, without your voice, there will be no real improvement. Hayaan niyo na lang ba na bumaha ng luha